Hey, I'm Brianna Hosack, and this is the Bingeable Business Trainings podcast, bringing easy to follow and wildly informative, high-value trainings for spiritual women starting out in online entrepreneurial businesses. These training topics were crowdsourced based on the needs of the women in my business supporting group coaching membership called the Butterfly Network, in which I share my own successful entrepreneurial business knowledge going back all the way to 2012 when I started my first business, and encompassing multiple tens of thousands of dollars invested in coaching and training since then, so that you don't have to take food off the table to get your business off the ground like I had to once upon a time. As a certified advanced level shamanic practitioner and a level 2 certified holy fire Reiki practitioner, I bring a level of spiritual understanding and feminine flow to the deeply structured and disciplined masculine go. And as an authentic business leadership coach and mentor, I teach you the way to run your business that works for you and your unique life without all the cookie cutter crap, while stepping into leadership of yourself, your family, your community, and the world. If you'd like to find out more about the Butterfly Network membership, you can find more information in the show notes of any episode, and if there are spots available at any given time, enrollment is open. In the meantime, listen in for tons of free value and clear coaching advice so you can take your business from idea to sold in no time. If you do find value here, make sure to subscribe and share this podcast with anyone you think it might help. And if you're ready for high value coaching support and powerful sisterhood with other women in business, all at a record low price, crawl on over into the Butterfly Network membership, Caterpillar. Let's get you your wings. Hello, ladies. So, let me know if you ever struggle with feeling like you're uncertain of your own decisions. Like if you have a choice to make and you're just, I don't know which way to go. I don't know what's best. I don't know what's right? What's the right decision? And I don't really believe that there's a wrong decision because we're constantly learning. So everything that we do is a learning experience, right? And so in that sense, there's no wrong choice. However, of course, there are going to be better choices than others. Okay, so today, my topic of choice is how to make the right choices in your life and business. And like I was just saying, I don't really believe that there are wrong choices. It is all learning experiences and so on. So, but I'm going to back up a little bit because all of this has like foundation that builds up towards it. So first of all, the one comment that I made last week, which I have shared again and again this week because it actually is really, really powerful, is that if you don't know what you want, then you're not heading towards it. And this really applies across the board. If you don't have a goal, if you don't have like a where you're heading to, then you can't be sure of ever getting there, right? And so what I always say is that we need to be in intuitive alignment. And that just means being able to like trust the little shifts and sways with your intuition to stay on track. And of course, again, like we were talking about before, if you don't have a goal, if you're not heading somewhere, then it's really hard to stay on track, right? Because you don't have a track. So starting out, first of all, with intuition is that number one, every single one of us, there is no exceptions. We're born with intuition. We all have it. You might even hear some people say like, we are all psychic and we just haven't developed the abilities, or, you know, we all have that like spiritual connection. And it's true. It is true. Every single one of us has intuition. We're born with it. And you might not believe me if you are not the type who makes decisions based on your gut feelings, or if you always seem to make the wrong choice whenever you try. So yeah, we all have intuition. We're all born with it. Even if you don't feel like you have it or you have access to it, you do have it. But the problem is some of us were given more space to grow it, more room to practice it, and some of us weren't. And organized religion, and now here, like disclaimer, I am not bashing organized religion, okay? To each their own is how I look at it. But organized religion is a very common culprit for making us block our intuition. Because as children, when something doesn't feel right to us, we intuitively would know. We had that intuition built in. But as soon as we voiced our concerns about it, more often than not, we're told like, no, you're wrong. It's okay. Nothing's wrong, or you're mistaken, or even that it's like straight up, it's bad. It's wrong to ask questions or to correct your elders, right? Like your parents are always right, or, you know, things along those lines. So organized religion is a very common culprit for that. And I'm not bashing organized religion, but that is one of the problems that it creates. And so as kids, of course, we just trusted that, because when you're a child, you're supposed to trust the grown-ups around you, right? You're supposed to listen to your elders. You're supposed to follow instructions. You're supposed to behave. And so, you know, the adult saying you're wrong, we just assumed that they were right. And so that must mean that we are wrong. And so we stopped following that nudge that we would get and started ignoring it. So this just brings up, how do we set that intuition free, right? And start hearing and feeling it again if we've buried it. And the really simple answer is to practice. But obviously that's not always easy. And now the slightly more complex answer being that you make space in your life to get really quiet and still and start practicing listening to and feeling for your intuition. And then as soon as you feel like maybe that was it, leap, act on it, take that leap. Whether it works or not, keep trying, because practice makes perfect, just like anything else. So if you want to be in that intuitive alignment, to be able to make the right choices, first you need to practice the intuition piece. So if you struggle with that, then this is where you want to start. So if you don't fully understand intuition was given to all of us to keep us safe, to make our lives easier, and to make sense of things that confuse us. What does it even mean when someone says you need to get into alignment? And I think that this is the easiest to explain as a metaphor. I like to picture it as a map. Picture your life as a map. All the possible places that you could go on this map, all of the outcomes for your life. And it's a little intimidating, right? It's intimidating thinking like, I really have no clue where I want to go. And just having that uncertainty of where is my life going to go? What's going to happen to me? So, but if you haven't chosen a destination to head to, you're going to wander all over that map. You're never going to arrive where you want to be. And this plays out like chasing the next best thing, because you don't actually have an end result in mind to celebrate when you achieve it. And so it's always like, well, this looks interesting and that looks interesting and this looks interesting and I wonder about that, right? And you don't actually like stay on your path because you don't have one. So then if you choose a destination, but you don't actually plan your route to get there, you're much more likely to make extra stops, take the long way around, spend extra money, right? Go the wrong way very often, and so on. So you're playing it blind. This is where, like in business, they always say throwing spaghetti against the wall, hoping that something sticks, right? Not being sure of that outcome or where you're going or how you're getting there, you are kind of trying everything. But if you choose your destination and you plan out the route that you want to take, so like drawing that straight line from where you are now to where you want to be, and then figuring out what roads are the closest, right? What path is going to take you there the fastest. You will save time. You'll probably save a lot of money, and you're going to be much less stressed, all in all, right? And you might decide partway through your journey to stop and check out something that's beautiful or interesting, and absolutely stop and smell the roses. It's worth it. It's important, actually. But when you're done with that, you're going to know exactly where to pick up, because you'll know exactly where you left off, because you weren't wandering at random. When you're getting into alignment, you must have an end in mind and a route planned that is capable of taking you to the end destination that you want, and which is clear and easy to follow. So if somebody's telling you that you need to get into alignment and that's why your life is so hard, but you don't have a goal or a plan, you just can't. You can't be in alignment with something that you haven't decided on. And this is, again, where I was saying, if you don't know what you want, then you're not headed towards it. So pick your destination, plan out your route, and then when you need to get into alignment, all it takes is opening up that map and finding where you are and where you're supposed to be, redrawing a line and finding the fastest route back, right? And just a little mini route to get back on track. And so that is technically really simple, but it's not always as easy as it sounds either. So how do you decide where you want to go in the first place? How do you choose between all the different possible routes once you do decide where you want to end up? And that is the main focus for this live today, especially for those of you who weren't given a desire straight out. You just weren't just born with this, like, I know what I want to do with my life. Or, you know, you've always been taught to work for the man, right? That money is king, basically, and we got to go to work every day until you die, kind of a thing. If you've always been taught that time is money and you get paid for your time and you only have so much time, so therefore you only get so much money. Or if you've always had your hopes and dreams that you did have squashed or kept really small. Just as an example with this one, like for myself in my early teens, and I can't remember exactly how old I was, but I wanted to be a figure skater. I loved watching figure skating. I loved watching like the Olympics and figure skating. And I said it out loud one day when my dad and I were watching figure skating, that I wanted to be a figure skater. And now my family, for background, we were very poor. So we didn't have money to put me in training for figure skating or anything like that. So my dad's response, instead of telling me, I don't have the money to put you in figure skating, but maybe you can come up with a solution. Maybe you can save the money yourself. Maybe you can, like, instead of that, like, broad mindset, right, of like, you can do anything, he told me that I was too big to be a figure skater. Now, I am larger right now and I've gained some weight, but I have always been a very small, like, petite person. And so that was just, it was straight up a lie, but it gave me so many limiting beliefs. It gave me that, like, I couldn't do anything that I wanted. I was too big. It did give me like this limit on what I could accomplish. It gave me this, that it wasn't all possible for me. And so it was a simple thing. And I understand the logic behind why he said what he said. He didn't want to admit that he didn't have the money for it, which I think he always assumed that I didn't fully understand our money situation because I was a kid. But I always understood it. I understood that we didn't have extra money. And I wasn't even asking him for lessons at that point. It just was his natural reaction. So anyway, long story short, it caused a lot of limiting beliefs for me. So if you've ever had that happen, things similar where your dreams and your hopes and all of that were squashed, you may have stopped listening to that voice that was telling you to follow that dream in the first place. Now, as an adult, you might not be in the habit of believing, right? Of having that hope of like, I can do whatever I want. I can be whatever I want to be. I can achieve anything that I put my mind to. And if that's the case and you can't figure out where you want to go because of it, and you can't decide, even if you do know where you want to go, you can't seem to figure out how to get there. Like, it just seems so out of reach and so impossible for you. First of all, I want to say, and this is one of my core values and beliefs in life, is that you want to explore. You should always be exploring. You should always be open to new things. And I'm a huge advocate of lifelong learning because of this, because I think it's really important that we are exposed to more things in order to be able to even have the possibility of arriving at what maybe is our real purpose and what really calls us forward. So explore, be a lifelong learner, always be open to learning and exploring new things. That's the first and very important thing to do if you want to get into a habit of being able to access your intuition. And then second, you want to be following the nudges. So these may be really tiny, and when you're not used to hearing your intuition or feeling it or however it shows up for you, it can be really hard to decipher them, to realize what they are. And so with that, if you're not sure how to decipher that, my suggestion is that if something piques your interest, follow it. Allow yourself to explore it. Literally, just because it's interesting, you don't have to go anywhere with it. You don't have to all of a sudden decide, like, this is my life purpose and this is what I'm going to do, but explore it because it's interesting. And it's okay to just be interested in something different. And a big piece with this is stopping the ingrained response that we've had trained into us, especially as women and especially as mothers, to deny our own enjoyment, right? This life is supposed to be full of joy. It is supposed to be happy. And so constantly denying our own happiness, and we do it in a million different ways, but one of them is like, oh, I'm interested in that. I can't explore that. I can't be curious about that. I can't just do it because it's interesting. I can't even put $5 towards something that I find interesting because it's not right. It's just not right. I'm supposed to be focusing all of my attention on prioritizing everyone else, right? And that is so backwards and it is not healthy. So this second tip for learning how to access your intuition is literally that. Just explore. When something piques your interest, explore it. Allow yourself to explore it just because it's interesting. Allow yourself to enjoy something just for the hell of it. And then when you feel a nudge, but you're not quite sure where it's pointing you and you're kind of panicky a little, you're not certain of your own, like you're not able to trust it yet, get help. And I don't mean like, go see a therapist. And not that there's, again, anything wrong with therapists, because I absolutely believe in them, but getting support from someone who is more attuned to, what is the word I'm looking for? I want to say celestial guidance, but that's not quite the word I'm looking for, but universal guidance, I guess. Just someone who is more used to hearing it may be able to help you figure out whether you are or not. Because we absolutely can be affected and influenced by outside sources that aren't our intuition and that make us think that they are. And so it's good to have a little bit of certainty before you leap, at the same time as I'm telling you that, you know, a really good way to practice is to leap. But always, 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 even once you know where you're going, even once you have your plan in place of your route to take to get there, always turning back to that inner knowing, or intuitively sound. Just someone who is just more intuitively sound, who's able to rely on their intuition like that. So always turning back to that inner knowing. And again, it takes practice. All of us need to practice. Even those who are more intuitively sound consistently practice whatever method it is that they use to access their intuition, whether it is a spiritual practice, a meditation practice, going to church every Sunday. It doesn't matter. They're going to be more aligned like that and more intuitively sound if they practice. And so I'm telling you to do the same thing, to practice even when you're unsure. And even once you think you know, still go back and confirm with yourself regularly. Check in and make little tweaks, because it's never perfect and you want to tweak until it is perfect. And so you just keep tweaking, because all the different experiences that life throws at you bring you to a different end result. And so you may choose where you're going and you might create your path, but along the way, there's going to be things that are like, you know what, this is a little bit better. And you're just going to just move the needle a tiny bit. So having a consistent practice of tapping into your intuition is the only way to make sure that you are staying on track most of the time, that you're making the right decisions most of the time. And that is because it changes. What's right changes, and what path you're supposed to be on changes sometimes, and where you're going changes sometimes. And that's really scary if you're someone who needs a lot of structure. If you're someone who's like, I want this to be exactly this particular way. And the thing is, and if you have ADHD, impulsivity is a huge, huge thing with ADHD. And so you get this impulse and you're like, oh, I want to do it. And you just like leap. And it can be fantastic. It can be a really powerful thing when there's a scary leap to be made, but it's a good one. And so when you know that it's right, but it's still scary, like a big investment, but that you know you should make, or something like that, that can come in really handy. That like, I have a utter faith in myself because I know I want that thing. And so you just go for it. But a lot of the time that impulsivity can be a problem. And so learning to, when you get that impulse, stop for a second, tune in and figure out, is this an outward, like something outside of me is affecting me, making me interested in this, or is this something that my soul, my intuition is actually telling me that I should do? So that's really, really important. And then very last is, and I actually was guided to add this on at the end. I pulled a card for myself earlier from one of my new decks. It is personal power. And that is really a lot of what I'm talking about here, is being able to rely on your own judgment. And so I'm going to just read to you what it says, because it is really, really powerful. And then I'll talk about it a little bit before I wrap up here. So personal power has to do with your solar plexus chakra, which this is a chakra deck. I'm really excited about it. It says, you have called upon this card today because it's time to step fully into your power. We are living a truly exciting time here on earth, and we are all encouraged and invited to live more from a place of empowerment. And I'm just going to, like, this is a tangent here, but really this is hugely applicable to everything that I talk about, because my core beliefs are around women being equal to men, and in a much deeper way than feminism covers it right now. And being able to, again, like, it's that stop dismissing our own enjoyment, stop putting everyone else before ourselves. All of that is coming from a place of more empowerment. We deserve that. It is okay. And so it's saying that everyone on earth is encouraged to start living from that place of empowerment, of knowing what's right for you and of what matters to you, and having that be as important as what matters to someone else. Okay, so anyways, over time, we have learned to hand over our power to other people and situations, which has created imbalance and inequality. Sometimes we feel like other people know what's best for us and the situation at hand, and due to a lack of self-love and honor, we give our power over to them. It is now time to connect to your own wisdom, love, and personal power. Everything you require is within you. Now it is time to look within and listen to that loving wisdom and your own divine guidance. It's time to connect with your soul. At times, power can be misunderstood as a negative or controlling expression that comes from the ego. However, the power we're talking about here is love, and comes from a place deep within our heart and soul. And really, that's so important, you guys. Like, having that self-love to put our own needs first is imperative. It's not optional. Have you been handing your power over to others? Now is the time for you to reel it back in. It is time to make your own decisions and choices, and allow the power of your soul to shine through to create and manifest your heart's desire. Connecting with your personal power will bring an abundance of opportunity and magic to your life. The power of the universe is surging through you at all times. Harness this power and enhance your life and well-being. Know you are supported fully by your higher self and the universe in this powerful and exciting transition. And an affirmation to go with it is simply, I am empowered. So I was pulled to share that. Hopefully that was helpful for you guys. That to me was just like, yes, it was so confirming. And the thing is when I went to pull this card, I asked, like, what can I offer to my audience today? What is important for me to get across in my messaging? And then that's what I pulled. And so it was so aligned with what I was talking about anyways. So that is so, so important though. It's important that we are in our own power. And this is what I do. This is what I'm all about, is empowering women, in making it so that we are able to actually step up and do these things that we're being called to do, fulfill our purpose, make that big impact, be in radical alignment where you get to be in joy every day, where you get to feel really good. That shouldn't be optional. And as women, we have been trained to not even just make it optional, but to not even allow it. It's not even once everybody else is happy we get to be. We're just not allowed to be happy. And this is a big piece of the negative patterns of the patriarchy that I am trying to fight against with everything that I'm doing. And that's why I think it is so important for women to access their intuition. And I know how common it is not to be able to access your intuition because you have shoved it down your entire life. And so that is why I am creating programs now that are along the lines of the Chrysalis Incubator, where we are building that habit of accessing our intuition daily, of getting into alignment. Some of the previous ones where, like the butterfly effect, where we get really clear on what your actions right now are doing out into the world and the possible actions that you can take to create the ripples that you want to create, because that's also really important, choosing it and not just letting whatever ripples happen. The whole point of these programs that I'm creating is specifically to help women to get into themselves, get access to and more reliant on and trusting of their own intuition and of their inner knowing, so that they can start creating the impact that they were meant to create. And I really do believe that each of us was meant to create an impact like that. We all have an impact to make. I firmly believe that. And I think it is so important that women start stepping up into this empowerment, this place of empowerment, of taking up space in the world, of being the leaders, and it not mattering what men think about it, or what is normal, or what is natural, because I totally believe this is natural, but we've been trained otherwise. Or, you know, being scared of criticism, of being blamed for just putting themselves first and all of this stuff. It's important that we put ourselves first. We cannot give to other people at the same level without putting ourselves first. And this is part of that. This is totally part of that, to learn to listen to your intuition, to get into alignment every single day, so that you are making leaps and bounds progress and flying forwards in your life. And whether that is for business or for personal, it doesn't matter. I spend a ton of time on my alignment and on my self-care and all of that, because I know just how powerful it makes me. It sends me flying towards the goals and the dreams that I have, and am accomplishing them. You know, I'm not the coach that's sitting here talking about how I made 6 figures this month or something like that, but that's not the first step on my ladder. That's not my main thing. My main thing is the impact that I'm making in the world. And like, for starters, I just finished with the illustrations for the book on entrepreneurship for kids. Sorry, the series, not just the book, for entrepreneurship for kids, that I did in conjunction with Kelly Major. We just finished with that. She's wrapping it up this weekend, and then it is going to be starting being published. I'm so excited. And that is because I truly believe that every child should have a chance to have that entrepreneurial spirit, to be able to come up with solutions for themselves and create outside the box amazing new things. And all of this falls under women's empowerment. It does. There are so many people in my life who think that I'm crazy doing what I'm doing. My ex-husband, or well, he's still my husband, but my ex being one of them. I never could have done most of this while being with him. He was so close-minded to all of this, and he absolutely was the person going, you work for the man until you die. And even at one point when I was just running my day home when my daughter was younger, and I was making more than I ever had at any job, he still made a comment to my daughter that maybe someday mama will get a real job. And things like this have been repeated in my life, and the only reason I bring them up, it's not like, oh, feel sorry for me. I've done all the work around this stuff. I'm fine. But this is the kind of thing that women hear consistently all the time. And our dreams and our needs and our feelings are not being prioritized in the way that they should. And so, all of that said, my absolute top belief is that women need to get in touch with their inner wisdom, because we have so much to bring to this world. We have so much power to bring. We have so much change to make, and so much impact that we can create in this world. And I really do mean to lead a global change around all of this. And so all of my programs, like I said, that I am creating now are all about this. They're all about helping you get tapped in, tuned in to your intuition so that you are able to then reliably and confidently make choices in your life and in your business that will just take you so much farther, so much faster. And I really believe in the power that this has to help women to make a bigger impact on the world. And how do I lead a global movement without empowering other women? We are exploring different spiritual practices. We are learning new things, opening up our limits so that we can just blow the roof off. And in and amongst it all, we are creating this habit of getting into alignment every single day. I really do believe in helping women to be in that deep-seated alignment and really know where they're going, what they're doing, what they're meant to do, what they fully believe in and stand behind, and be able to. And here's the thing. I have done the parenting coaching. I have done the productivity coaching. I have done all of these pieces. And I mainly work with ADHD women, right? But when you put it all together, all of the things that I have expertise in support you in being able to manage having a bigger vision for your life than most people have, and not have the rest of your life fall apart and crumble beneath you while you're accomplishing that bigger vision. This is stirring up emotion for me. I am so passionate about this. It is so important that women start stepping up into leadership roles, that women start making a bigger impact with things that they are called to do, because we have some powerful things we were called to do, and we can change a lot of the awful things that go on in this world. And so I really just want to invite you to explore your spiritual practice, learn new things, see something maybe new that you've never experienced before that will make an amazing impact on your life. And I would be so honored to have you. I've never been in better alignment in my life, and I just want to help other women to do the same. I want more of you to experience this alignment that it gives you and how it ripples out into the rest of your life. So all of that said, thank you for spending time with me today. I appreciate you so much for being here. I know your time is valuable, and it means so much to me every time you guys show up. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I will see you all soon. Bye.
Thanks for listening in. I hope this training was exactly what you needed when you needed it. If it brought you value, make sure to subscribe and share this podcast with anyone it may help. And if you're ready for high-value coaching support and powerful sisterhood with other women in business, all at a record low price, crawl on over into the Butterfly Network membership, Caterpillar. Let's get you your wings.